All right, so I don't know how this is going to work, but one of the things that I thought that I would do is just show the process that I go through when I build some of these videos, both to kind of work on how to combine or get information, and then to show the techniques that I use when I'm actually building briefs, because I think there's some cool stuff there, and to just be available when folks want to. Like if there's questions people have, we can just field that. So I have no idea what's going to happen here, but I got my crappy little webcam, and if I need to, I'll put on my giant headphones for volume control. Let's see what's going on here. So living and learning, right? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how to see my chat. Oh wait, I think I can do that. There's a way. I don't want to do that. Pop out chat. Yeah, that's what I want. All right, because I'm going to put this away. And let's see. New managing moderators can support close. All right, so I'm just going to put my chat over to the side so I can kind of watch that. There's new monitors going to be coming. All right, so what I'm working on today is just trying to figure out how the Social Security Administration handles military pay, and and I'm thinking about how I'm going to structure a brief to explain that, because if you look at what they say here, they say the military pension doesn't affect your Social Security benefits, but they do make this weird comment about survivor benefits may affect benefits payable under the DoD Survivor Benefit Program plan. And then they say check with the Department of Defense, but if you go to this, it's just like Department of Defense's press releases, so it doesn't answer the question. All right. So the first thing I do, I'm a big fan of the snipping tool. So what I'm going to do is I'll just grab this section. Now I don't really know what I'm going to do with it, but what I start doing is I just throw it into a blank PowerPoint. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll also copy this, copy the URL in, paste it in as text, and then I just have it later, because what'll happen is once I know the pieces of information that have to be communicated, then I'll start putting it all together. All right, we're back to Social Security Administration, and what I really want to start with is the issue of estimating your benefits. So I think that I was there. Um, right, so all right, I always say don't Google federal documents, but sometimes you do use Google, and as soon as you use Google, like one of the first things I look to is this an official website of the U.S. government, right? And really, the way to know is that it's a .gov, right? If it's not a .gov, I immediately become suspicious of any information contained there, but that doesn't guarantee that if it is a .gov that there's any real value. All right, so other factors. What I would really, well, let's go in here. I have an account. Oh, and they're going to want to use my login.gov. So let me look at my login.gov information. Now, here's something that I'm going to have to figure out how to do is how to log in when I'm doing live streams in a way that doesn't compromise my security. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go over to the live stream for now. God, that's ridiculous. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. So go to me, and I'm going to log in. And once I'm logged in, we'll bring it back in. Oh, that's cute. It's a all right. So two-factor authentication with login ID, and so I get my little code, my one-time use code, so you guys can see it. One of the things I do is I never let it remember my browser. I kind of enforce this discipline of only of making myself go through all the security checks, because in the past what's happened is I've had situations where people will get access to my browser, and then they'll use the fact that my browser is considered verified, and then they'll go in and do whatever they want. Anyways, let's see, back to sharing my screen. Okay. Because what we've done is we've gotten in here to the Social Security. I agree to the terms of service. Next. And there's a last in here. All right. So one of the first things I'm looking for is, I'm pretty sure. All right, you're going to see this. You see this table, right? There's 3 points. So you get your full. I get my full retirement at age 67, and then let's see. If I go 66, what happens here? See, this is one of the. I'm just going to add them. 66, 65, right? 64. Oh, bugger. That's annoying. Okay, what am I going to do? Just slide this. This is good. All right. So one of the things I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to do a little bit of pair with benefit as a spouse. I don't want to get into that. All right. So let's open up a blank. Yeah, that's great. I'm going to open up a blank workbook. And, oh, that's kind of crap. Talk about spouses in a second. I just want to start with this basic thing. So, 62, 67, and 70. So, start at 62. And we want to run all the way. I always hate that. You got to put 2 digits in to get it to do sequential. If you only give it one number, all right. So those are the ages, and monthly Social Security. Let's look here. So let's put in a column, insert, and I'm just going to say minimum, maximum, and delayed. All right. It might not be obvious right now, but there's a rule about when you start earning your Social Security and the types of income that you receive that's going to play in here. So, but I just want to get the basics laid down. So the minimum benefit is 2468. Full benefit, max, is 3608, and delayed is 52. All right, now, one of the things, whenever I'm working with money, I like to use accounting instead of currency, just because of the way it looks. I'm going to get rid of those zeros. But if I switch over to currency, notice the difference between currency and accounting. I don't know, maybe it's just me. It has to do with the placement of the dollar sign. And I don't know. What's the big thing that I like to watch out for here is that you don't get some data that is in currency and some that's in accounting. So I think I'm in currency right now, and we'll just leave it there for a minute. All right, so I got 66, 65, 64. I need 63. I can do that up here. I don't want that. 63, calculate that. All right, it puts it down in the table. I'll come get that in a second. The table 63, 67 I got. So I want 68 and 69. 68 and 69. 68, calculate that. And 69. Calculate that. All right. Now I've got these. They're not completely in order, but we'll deal with that in a second. And let's make this really narrow so that I can put it between the two. Yeah. So 69, 4016, 3791, and then 66 is 3351, 65 is 3101, 64 is 2844, and we're 63. 63, I gotta watch that. 2650. Okay. All right, so now let's just plot this. So we kind of, just check ourselves. And whenever I'm plotting things, the natural tendency is to want to use a line chart or a bar chart. But sometimes, in some cases, you're better off using a scatter plot where you plot the X and the Y. Now, I'm not really sure right now which way I'm going to go, but I am going to go with a line chart for now. So the finished product, I might have to switch away from a line chart, but let's see what this looks like. All right, so you go select data, and what I want is the monthly Social Security and what the heck have I done here? It's asking for X and Y. Cancel that. I did not want. Cancel that too. Change chart type. I think I picked scatter plot when what I meant to pick was line. You never can tell. All right. So back to select data, add series name is going to be X. Monthly values, and we say okay, but then we go over here, we're going to get the axis values. Okay. Yeah, and I'm not going to do a lot of formatting right now. Like, I love formatting, but I like to get the raw data right before I do that. And at this point, I don't even really know what point I'm going to make. I'm just trying to collect the raw data. I know what point I'm headed towards, but I don't know yet. Now, there is one little thing that I want to check. I don't know how I get to this, but it has to do with cost of living. Yeah, let's go look at these. Your base Social Security benefit, we base them on your lifetime earnings. We adjust or index your actual earnings to account for changes in average wages since the year earnings were. All right, so and then calculates delayed retirement credits. It's government pension offset. Okay, here's you see how I've kind of stumbled on something that I might have to deal with later. This is one of those places where I'm going to go back. I'm just going to cut it, go back to my PowerPoint, kick in a new slide, and paste it in. All right. Right. All right. But what I want to know, yeah, if you apply, it's this issue of if you apply now. I just want to make sure that they haven't inflated these future values based on estimated, off of an estimated cost of living rates. You know, like cost of living rate would come between 62 and 70. Your full earnings record now. Okay. Right. Privacy Act. All right, here's my earning history. And it doesn't really. See from your record, and none of that seems to be very helpful. All right. Okay, so in this case, like I've got an open question that I kind of need to check. And so as I'm roughing in my spreadsheet, I'm gonna make this question. Just put this here: Are monthly Social Security estimates assuming inflation? That is, does age 70 COLA 62? Yeah, and you can kind of see how I haven't nailed down clearly what this question is. I just want to make sure that I don't forget about it, because I'm going to move on to this next piece, which is really about. All right, so you can go to the Social Security Administration, create an account, you log in, you see your estimate. That's easy. The question becomes, when should you apply for Social Security benefits? And because, yeah, like essentially you can pick any time between 62 and 70. But let's do it like this. Let's convert this to an annual Social Security. And this is just going to be 12 times the monthly, right? And I double click on the little square, get my functions. And now, what I really want to do is figure my lifetime Social Security. This is the way I tend to think about these government benefits that are adjusted by cost of living rates, right? Like because there's a cost of living adjustment, then in theory, these benefits are keeping pace with inflation. So in theory, at least in my crazy head, there is no inflation. And I'll take it a little further. Because there is no inflation, then I act as if there's no way that I could invest these monies in that I could beat inflation. I know financial advisors say that I could, but at least from my perspective, from a mathematical, keeping things simple way, I make the assumption that keeping pace with inflation is the best that my money can do. All right. So what that means is that that the question becomes, what is my lifetime Social Security earnings? And I'm going to add a row here, because what I'm going to do is die at age I die at, right? And so 62, 63, right? And I'm going to take this out to, I'm going to take this out to 80 for now. And one of the problems with this, in fact, one of the reasons that using like a net present value calculation is comforting to people is because you can discount the future so much that you don't have to worry about the future. But like I said, all right. So now I got to write a function to figure out what my lifetime Social Security would be if I lived to age 62. In fact, now I realize I don't need this column, and I'm going to say lifetime Social Security if I die at age dot dot dot, right? I love dot dot dot. Okay. So what we're just going to do is just going to equal this number, right? And I'm going to want to stay on the 2 rows. So I'm hitting the F2 button. Stay on the 2 row minus this number. And here I'm going to want to stay on the B column. All right, so this is like the referential stuff. So this will be, right now, what this is going to show is how long I will live after claiming Social Security. All right, you can see I've already got a freaking problem. All right, let's try to figure out what's wrong here. So what is this? F2 minus C3. So I got the, that B2. I didn't get the right. There we go. All right, so because what I want to see is that. Now, I'm not a big fan of making Excel spreadsheets that show like huge, like here I've got this calculation, and then there's the next calculation, and then the next calculation in a bunch of cells. I like to put my formulas all in one spot. But the problem with doing that is if you write a complicated formula and it gives you a bad result, and you don't realize that it's a bad result, then it's really tough to figure out. So a lot of times what I do is I just kind of work through this, right? I kind of idiot check this piece, right? So so you see how I'm getting these negative values? I don't really want those negative values. So I'm going to say max of this calculation and 0. All right. So what that should do for me is, right? So if I die at 62 and I claim my Social Security at 66, I get 0 Social Security, right? Should look good. Yep, that looks good. And I'm going to run this out to 80. And you might be wondering, like, Why did I just do that? I might be wondering that too. But anyways, so that's how many years you live. And what I want to do is I want to multiply it times the annual Social Security associated with claiming at that age. And we want to stick with the D column. So I put my $sign in front of the D, right? So, all right. All right. Now, all right. So I think what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to make a new plot. This is one of those cases where I'm going to go with a scatter plot. And the reason I go with a scatter plot is because I think I'm going to have to lay something in on it. And so we'll see in a second what I'm doing here. Select data. I'm going to add a series. And I'm going to say, I'm going to cancel that. Cancel that. And the reason I'm doing that is what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a column here. And I'm going to name equals concatenate retire at, and then there you go. So the reason I'm doing this is because when I have, I don't know, sometimes I'm okay with typing in the series name, but there's other times it just feels more comfortable to me to select a series name. And I guess probably the reason that I'm being so persnickety about this is because when you've got data that has this shape, it's got like 10 rows and 20 columns, it's pretty easy to get the X's and the Y's backwards, and it helps to be like spot on. So our X's, I want to be how long I live, right? And our Y's, I want to be the money, right? So we should get a curve that's really a straight line, right? Okay. All right, just look at this, right? So it's kind of boring. It's just a straight line. But we're going to do this for all of the other ages you can retire at. So I'm going to add retire at 63 and go like this. Now, this is one of those places where I might have made a mistake in choosing to use a scatter plot just because I got to bring in so much information. And yeah, this is a pain in the ass. I'm going to just stop that. I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to change the chart type, chart design, change chart type, and I want to go to a line. Yeah, but I do want these little dots. Okay. All right, so let's go select our data. All right. This will just make this a little easier. And if you guys have thoughts and ideas about how best to do this, I mean, let me know. Part of the reason that I'm doing this is because, not only to share the things I know, but to accumulate the things that you know. So the day is going to come when somebody actually signs into one of these horrific live streams and says, "Hey, Chuck, you know what you could do?" And I'd be like, "Oh, that's fantastic, Ronnie." I'm not there yet, but 65. Okay. I always hate that. Right? You always got to be careful that you don't that you actually move to the right field as you're doing this. Okay. And 66. 66. This. Okay. All right. Add 67. 67. Okay. Okay. I'm getting a little distracted because by now I'm starting to look at the chart and I'm thinking about what the chart's telling me. And that part of the reason I'm doing that is because if the chart's telling me something crazy, then I might want to stop, taking the time to build the chart. But then there's other times when I get excited and I'm like, oh, the chart's saying something interesting. That distracts me. I'm going to add and one last series, right? Retire. It says I'm using retire at 70. I probably shouldn't be saying retire. It's more about claim Social Security at age 70. In fact, and so now this comes back to why I used the formula. Is I realize that all right, great googly moogly. All right. Well, first of all, I've got so much data here that it's kind of blurring what I want, the point I want to make. And I don't think I'm going far enough to the right. So let me do this. Let me start on extend. Extend this. Let's go out to age 100. Oh, yeah. Yep. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to auto fit my columns just so they look okay. All right. And now I'm going to go back here. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. I want to select them all. Come on, buggy. There we go. So I'm going to grab this and I'm just going to drag it over. Hopefully that'll, yeah. Yeah. All right. Now, you probably don't want to go all the way to 100. Let's make it 90. All right. So even though I have the data for 100, I'll just pull it back to age 90 because there's a point here that I want to make that I know exists. All right. Let's pull it back to 85. One of the things you get kind of sick of me saying is that like whenever you present data, there's a comparison that people are making, and what you want to do is you want to avoid giving them so much information that they have a ton of comparisons to make. In fact, that's one of the things I'm about to address here. So let's go into select data. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off some of this information. All right, so I'm turning off all of the ages except these three, right? Retire at age 70, retire at age 62, and 67, right? Because what I really want to do is zoom into this space that is the break point. Just for now, I'm going to throw in a legend. I don't know how I'll do this eventually, but for now, I got that. All right, just for my own peace of mind. All right, let's. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is like this stuff on the left isn't necessarily very important. Rather than rather than try to change my data, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move. I'm going to move this to 75. I'm going to format my axis. And I don't want text options. This is always a humpback for me. Labels, numbers. Oh, remember how I was saying sometimes I like scatter plots and sometimes I like line. This is one of the reasons. You can't adjust. You can't format the axis. Like you can format the y-axis. I can set minimums and maximums, but I can't do that with the x-axis, and that's exactly where I want to be making these changes. All right, so let me see. There we go. And let's do it this way. I want to do, remember I wanted to go to 75. All right. Okay. And now I do want to format this because what I really like, I want to zero in on these breakpoints. So format the axis, and this is like 270. So let's make this 250, 23. All right. Ooh, now I'm going to have to stretch this to get, yeah. All right. Now, one of the things I don't like here is that these tick marks are on. It's between tick marks. I want it on tick marks, right? I want the line for 76 to pass through those dots. All right. By the way, I'm using a line chart, right? And if I use scatter plot, it would look like a line chart. It's just different functionality. But I'm using a line plot for two reasons. There's two rules here that I have in mind. The first is the first has to do with comparison. Oh, well, maybe the first thing to say is instead of using a bar chart, I'm using a line chart. And there's two reasons for that. Number one is because the comparison should be the distance between these dots, right? It's a little tricky to visualize if I have to put bars beside each other. And the other thing is that while I did my analysis based off of like how much Social Security you get if you claim it on your birthday, your birth month, the fact of the matter is you can be between these values, right? So that's, if you can't be between two values, that's one of the times that a bar chart is really appropriate. All right. Anyways, what do I see here? Well, the first thing is if I live up to age 78, then my maximum lifetime earnings would come from retirement at 62. If I retired at, if I claimed my retirement at 67, then at age 69, I'm sorry, age 79, age 80, and age 81, I would be getting more money. I would have higher lifetime earnings. And at age 82, it switches over to you're better off if you claimed your retirement at 70, right? So although I haven't finished my analysis, one of the points that I think I'm going to make is it's going to be about when you claim your pension. And based off of this chart, which I haven't cleaned up, I would recommend I certainly plan to claim my retirement at 62. But there's something else floating around here that I gotta figure out. All right, because there's a rule. I'm going to sign out of my Social Security. I'm a little suspicious that it let me stay logged in this long. But anyways, I'm going to log out. Oh, I wonder what your benefit verification letter is. Oh, I don't care about that. Okay. What's that? I've done it again. Okay. Other factors that affect your amount. This is the thing that I want to dig into. If you continue to work, if you work before your full retirement age, your benefit will be temporarily reduced if you earn more than your earnings limit for that year. You can work after full retirement and earn as much as you'd like without reducing your benefit. Okay. All right. So what that means is if I claim my Social Security at 62 and I work, there's going to be reductions to my Social Security, and that might influence this decision point. So let's go look. Let's see. Enter your birth date to see your annual limit. All right. Well, let's use June 1st, 1970. You are not eligible for retirement in 2024. Okay, that makes sense. To help plan for the future, here's an example. If you're under full retirement age for the full year, the limit is we deduct $1 from your benefit for every $2 you earn above this. If you're turning full retirement age, the limit is $60,000 up to the month before. Huh. All right, let's start winding this back. All right, let me think about this. Somebody in 1962. Where's my calculator? All right, so 2023 minus 62, that'd be 1961. So let's just 62. Oh, I don't want to go there. I just want to go 63. All right. So people born in 1963, they're still not eligible. Let's go look. If your benefits. Oh, this is interesting because depending on how much you earn in your, so essentially what this is saying is $1,860 per month is shielded from a work benefit. I'm thinking about rank in this setting. All right, so if I were to claim at 62, I would have. I'm going to add a column for this. This is and what I want to do is 22, 320. 22, 320. Just going to copy that formatting there. Reason I did that is because of the zeros. It's easier to copy and paste the formatting than it is to reformat it and make them match. Hmm. Hmm. All right. So what that means is I would have essentially have unprotected, and that's the difference between my annual and this. All right. So like that would be $7,000. Ah, and one of the mistakes I made here is there really isn't. I'm going to delete this. I mean, there is a number that should go here. That's that 5,000. 59520, 59520, 59520, 59520, and then it becomes 0. And this is really I mean, I want this number. Wait a second. What the heck is going on here? Unprotected amount. There is no protection. So why? I mean, the negative means there's no problem here. I need a number that's really big. Yeah. Watch this. Equals NA. Right? All right. And now, what I'm going to say is if error give me a 0, right, that should fix that, right? Because there's no protection amount. And then what I want to do is I want that to be a 0. So let's just make this max of that 0, and that should take care of me. Yep. Yeah. So unprotected. Now the thing about this unprotected is it's a 1-for-1. So if we assume that I earn the whole, like if I assume that I earn like a huge amount of money, like what you guys are making, right? Max. I don't know how this, like what I'm doing is this divided by 2, right? So I don't care how much you make. I'm just saying half of this is protected. is sheltered. Insert I don't know. I'm just making up columns right now. I got to complete the thought before I do this. So this is equals this plus this. All right. Oh, yeah. See, like I kind of play around with this, and now I see what I want to see what I should do with this. All right. All right. A number of things are coming in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all this protected crap because this is not the way I want to think about this. And because what I want to do is I want to create some new ones. And it's really 62, 60. Really, I don't care about that. Watch this. Retire. I'm going to change this. I'm going to type this one. Retire at 62, work to 67, right? Because this is the case where this is the case where we're I want to see how this plots out. All right. So in this case, uh, this is, and I'm going to write this as a formula. Not, I could just type it in, but I want to write this as a formula to capture the logic because I might have to use this again. I kind of want to make sure I get it laid out. All right. So what it is it is the monthly Social Security for 62 minus the that number that they gave us. What was that number? 1860, right? 1860. And the reason it's 1860 is because I'm working with months right now. 1860, right? Minus, all right, plus you would claim 1860 plus, you get 1860 plus half of this. Yeah, half of this. Half of the amount that's above 1860. Yeah. Okay. Now, what I can do is I can do it like this. Just copy it. And more importantly, where the heck did my lines go? I'm going to add select data. I'm just going to take this to 12. I think I can get away with this. Ah! Oh, I put everything back in. I don't like that at all. I'm going to add my own. Oh, 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 oh. This is another thing about dealing with line charts. Let's go select data. See, like if I edit this, you'll see I'm S to AC, S to AC, okay? S to AC, but if I edit this one, I'm not S to AC. And I want to fix that. All right. All right. So a couple of things here. Um, what working after 62 does is it shifts down by um, by a constant amount. Does it really change the decision? I think I want to pull back a little bit here. So now what this is saying, I want to focus on this taupe one. It's saying if I live, all right, so what this is telling me is for my purposes, it is telling me that if I claim retirement at 62, but keep working with, with a job, I wonder how much that job would have to pay, right? So I'm just gonna, this will screw up my chart, but the they reduce you by $1 for every $2 you make. So uh, it's this minus that 1860, right? $600 a month. Like you don't, it does not take a big job, huh? The thing that I'm struggling with here is if you're, it doesn't, you end up in this boat because of your lifetime earnings. But if you cross this line, it doesn't take much of a job to be penalized. Let's think through this. So it's still saying, like, if I put my odds at living to, say, if I said I think that it's likely that I would live to 75, see what I'm thinking about is, what if I put a chart behind this that showed the like the life curve? You still, let's see, if you look at age 80, right? Age 80 is where things are the narrowest. Hmm. Actually, I'm kind of curious about what that would look like. Oh, you throw in another row. Equals max. Max of. Oh, I don't ignore that minus min. It's the same thing. Yeah, you see how right around 80, it doesn't matter what choice you made. If you live to 80, that's really interesting. All right. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to stop the live stream right now, mainly because I want to see how the live stream is going. But, oh man, I feel like there's something like there's an important point here about when to time getting your Social Security. And then on top of it, depending on who you are, it's going to influence whether or not you care about working. And then there is this question, there's still this question about what types of income would count to reduce your Social Security. And like part of the reason I'm thinking about that is if you imagine the sergeant major whose Social Security payments are below below this threshold of this 1860 a month, then they don't care at all about reductions, and it's only people who go above. And I wonder if I can figure out who they are. All right. So listen, live stream experiment is over. Shoot me like if you see this, shoot me a note. Tell me whether or not this is half baked or what. I'm gonna keep fiddling around. See you later.